Don't buy the Anthropic IPO. Amazon had to shut down an internal AI, incredibly powerful because employees started gaming. If you are not watching it. Hello everyone, welcome back to What's Up in AI. I'm Alex Kaperlov, CEO of Younet AI, and this week, wow, we've got some wild stories. A company just accidentally blew $500 million in 1 month. We are going to talk about Anthropic IPO and why I think you shouldn't be buying it. We're going to talk about the economy and why the downturn is actually accelerating the AI adoption, not slowing it down. And then because so many of you asked after last episode, I'm going to walk you through step by step exactly how I built my blog, kaperlov.org, and how my AI agent now runs the entire thing. I'll show you how you can do the same thing for your website, your Shopify store, or your Amazon for your whatever business you're doing. Let's get into it. Let's start with a story that had the entire enterprise AI world talking this week. An unnamed company, we still don't know who it is, racked up $500 million bill. 500, yeah, in a single month using Anthropic Claude. How does that even happen? Simple. They gave employees unrestricted access so others can just use it. No spending apps, no token limits, no real-time monitoring, no dashboard, nothing. Just here you go, team, have fun with AI. And their team went wild. They were running AI code agents, multi-step autonomous workflows, massive context windows all day, every day across the entire organization. And the bill just kept on going. Nobody was watching. Now there's the thing. This is not an isolated case. Microsoft had to cut back their internal Claude code licenses because individual engineers were costing them $500 to $2,000 a month. Uber are burned through the entire 2026 AI budget by April. Because of aggressive AI coding, tool deployment. Amazon had to shut down an internal AI usage leaderboard because employees started gaming, and that drove up compute costs. So the lesson here, and this is huge, if you're running a business, is that AI governance is not optional anymore. You need real-time dashboards. You need automated spending alerts. You need role-based access. You need hard budget cuts, because these tools are incredibly powerful, and that power translates directly into cost if you are not watching it. $500 million. Wow. 1 month. No guardrails. Let that sink in. And that leads me perfectly into my next point, which is going to be hot cake. So buckle up. Don't buy the Anthropic IPO. Look, I respect what Anthropic has built. Claude is an incredible model. I use it, my team use it, my agents this is the most preferable LLM for them. Come on, $1 trillion of what exactly? Let me break it down for you. Anthropic's business is a very large file, a setup model wrapped in GPUs. That's the product. That's what you're paying $1 trillion for. Right now, Claude's API costs about $40 per million tokens. That's their premium pricing. Meanwhile, open source models that are nearly as good as like Minimax M3 cost $2.40 per million tokens. That is a 16 to 1 price difference. And here's the thing about price gaps in technology. They always close, always. Open source catches up. Competition drives prices down. That's not a prediction. That's the history of every technology wave we've seen. Anthropic only wins as long as they have the best model. That's not a mod. That's a lead in a race. And leads in races don't last forever. Someone is always coming up behind you. And then we've got DeepSeek coming up this week. With an announcement that they are actually cutting off prices by 75% on their tokens. And that matters because it completely changes the pricing. Pressure in the market for Anthropic and OpenAI. And honestly, we shouldn't want them to win in the way that $1 trillion monopoly implies. One company owning the brain of the global economy. That's not a success story. That's a risk factor. That's exactly the kind of concentration we should be worried about. So when the IPO drops and everyone's going to be hyped, the media is going crazy, just remember, you're buying a lead in a race, not a castle with a moat. Fair here. Now that said, and I want to be fair, Anthropic is doing some genuinely incredible work on the security side, and this blew my mind. Anthropic has this program called Glasswing. They built an AI model called Methus. Think of it as a security researcher that never sleeps. And they point over 1,000 open source security projects. That kind of software that powers your bank's app, your hospital records, the websites you see every day. In its first month, Methus found 6,202 serious security flaws. 6 independent security firms verified the results. 90.6% of what Methus flagged was real. Now, here's this scary number that nobody's talking about. 530 most critical flaws, only 75 have been patched. 75 out of 30. The AI is finding problems faster than the entire global security community can fix them. And Anthropic has this rule. In a flaw, if the flaw isn't fixed within 90 days, they make it public. So there's a clock ticking right now on hundreds of critical vulnerabilities in software that runs bank systems, health care networks, government portals, and the teams maintaining this open source software are sometimes just a handful of people. Some of them literally asked Anthropic to slow down because they can't keep up. Think about it. People keeping the internet safe and secure now asking AI to slow down. So what's happening is actually the problem is not that there are a lot of these vulnerabilities. The problem is they can't fix them as fast as they can. So this is the exact problem I was talking in my blog, where I was explaining the problem of not only vulnerabilities that are coming, especially if we're going to have AGI sooner or later, it's patching them, fixing them on a go. This is the problem. And most of companies, most of platforms are now have to start thinking about not to prevent, not to secure their systems, but to make them self-improved, to make them self-developing and improving over time. So when vulnerability comes in, they can act and, AI can act and patch it as fast as possible. All right, so now let's shift gears. I want to talk about something that I keep hearing from AI leaders like Sam Altman and Dario Amodei. The narrative is adoption isn't happening as fast as everybody was thinking about. The economy, let's put it this way, is going down. So inflation is happening. Inflation keeps on growing because oil prices keep on growing. And the data from US is coming up on June 10th this year, and then Canadian is May 22nd. Everybody's talking about it. Everybody says most likely it's going to be high. Why? Because oil is going up, and most of government officials say AI might be the help here, right? So might help and save prices, save economy, because services might start being cheaper, and that may help to combat rapidly increasing inflation. Here's what I'm seeing on the ground from running my companies and talking to businesses every day. The economic downturn is actually accelerating AI adoption, not slowing it down. Think about it. When the economy is booming, companies have big budgets, they hire a lot of people, they don't feel the urgency to optimize. But when things go down, well, when revenue dips, when every dollar matters, that's when businesses get serious about efficiency. That's when CFO comes up and say, hey, show me what AI can do and how it can save us money. And that's exactly what's happening. From one-person operations to thousands of people organizations, everyone using AI at scale, not as a toy, not as an experiment. They use it as a core part how they run their businesses. Customer support agents, service agents, automations, operational automations. The adoption isn't slow. Adoption is happening, and it's happening now. Maybe not as at the pace that Silicon Valley was predicting, but it's happening, and it's happening from the ground up. What I mean by that is it's happening from people who are actually starting their business. They not hiring a lot of people. They hire agents. They build these agents. So when they build these agents, they pretty much rely their business processes to operational in the agentic way, meaning most of their processes being automated from the beginning. So when someone tells you AI adoption is disappointing, ask them what exactly disappointing compared to what? Because from where I'm sitting and what I see, all companies are looking to how implement AI, how to accelerate, how to save on employees' headcount. And yes, it is maybe a dot-com bubble style AI bubble, but in most cases, people actually benefiting from it, from the adoption. And that helps their businesses to focus on growth. And for the next decade, most likely, we are seeing the adoption and the foundation of new businesses, new economy, new approach in how we hire people, how we make new type of business. Okay, so this is the segment so many have asked after my last episode. People kept asking and messaging, how do you create a blog? How you can create a website using agents? So I'll try to sum it up and explain you how I built my blog, kapralov.org, from pretty much nothing. So what I did at first, I purchased my domain at godaddy.com. Then I connected that domain to Cloudflare, so DNS being pointed to Cloudflare. And then that's where agents started to work. I created an agent that, I didn't create an agent actually. I actually had my own agent that I was using for the past few years. And I simply connected agents to GoDaddy, to Cloudflare, and asked to create me a website based on Cloudflare worker pages. And then once it created me a Cyberpunk template, which I actually on purpose asked it. And then I said to push it into Cloudflare. Once it was live, I was able to see it online. Then the next step was, and so the step what? Step 3 was I told agent to build an API bridge for it. So once I built the API bridge, I could have an API endpoint, a secure endpoint being connected to my agent that could communicate with the website. So that's when any of my work started to be available to be pushed into the blog. So when I do some research, when I search for some materials, when I learn something and I find it very useful, I simply say agent to share it to my blog, and then it just triggers an API endpoint and post it into the blog. So that's pretty much the way the tool works, and how connectors can work. Can that be applied to your own website? Yes, it can. Can you build your own company website? Yes, you can. That's how every startup can actually do the exact same thing and can run a Shopify store. You can also connect to your Shopify connector and ask your agent to manage products, update descriptions, handle inventory changes. Selling to Amazon is exactly the same way. You just communicate with agent, and you tell him to do some operations and put everything together within your Amazon. So to speak, it's literally the time of you to create your own startup becoming from what it used to be. It's literally about 3 to 5 days, and you can get it running. It won't be your employee that does everything. Agent employee, right? But the execution, the building, the publishing, the distribution, this part will be automated. You don't need to hire 5 people, but you can be a one-man army, and you can use your agent to accomplish your startup. And that brings me to the bigger picture. This is the world I keep writing about, the Great Reallocation. We are in the new economy. A year ago, building a website, running a blog, managing e-commerce store, posting to social media, that was a team effort. Now multiple agents can pretty much do the same work, right? And in this economy, this is a new reallocation age. I believe humans need to be entrepreneurs. In the real sense, people need to develop this long-term vision. They need to learn how to direct AI and robotics in the benefit of humanity, how to use these programs to solve real problems. Because here's the best part of it all. If your agent handles the execution, the work is automated, and you don't need to spend 12 hours a day on tasks, what do you get back? You get back your time. The time you can spend with your family, with the nature, time to think, time to live. It's not utopia fantasy. That's what's actually happening right now. And from my expertise over, well, it's almost now 2 decades that I run different types of businesses, I do see the new generation year over year changing. And new hires, they're different. You can feel it that some of the tasks that you were giving to people even 10 years ago, they're not being completed as fast as it was before. New generation is different. They tend to get information faster. Social media, LLMs these days, it all expedites their time and builds this need in their minds to complete things fast and use shortcuts for it. So this is what actually hurting business. So that's why I encourage everyone to learn AI, to learn what exactly AI can do. Maybe little things, little projects, but start doing it, because otherwise, in today's reality, businesses try to adopt AI. They do adoption and quite successful. And you as a new professional in your career need to understand that building your career in certain profession, especially now, is much harder than it was, say, 5 years ago, because entry professions, they are at biggest threat right now, simply because juniors no longer needed in the company. Company needed those who know how to control AI, how to use agents, how to automate processes. And you, as a new professional, you need to understand that. You need to know how to use AI. Learn it step by step. Little things, maybe some stupid things, but learn it. Learn it so you can get it and help those companies to succeed in adoption. At Younet, we help businesses go agentic. Whether you are a one-person startup, we have self-serve platform UI where you can use different types of LLMs. You can build different agents. That's where I run my agents to do my work. And to 1,000-person enterprise. And if you want to talk to my agent, the same one runs my blog. You can actually do it in the description. I'll have that link so you can click on it and freely chat with it. It doesn't sleep, it's always there. And also hit subscribe button. You really help this blog to succeed. And hit the bell. Share us with a founder or a business leader who needs to hear it. And I'll see you next week on What's Up in AI. Peace.